Richard Rellis here with columnist Bob Robb virtually. And you have pointed out, we've discussed this before, that most people are going to vote on the recreational marijuana initiative based on should pot be legal or not be legal. But again, you've brought more details to the fore. Let's try to get through as many as we can. There's no limit on potency of smoked marijuana, you say. Why is that an issue?
Because there's growing evidence that high potency pot is associated with psychosis. And the proponents of Proposition 207, which I think they are to be credited with, recognize that in contrast to previous initiatives, did permit the regulation of the potency of edibles, but not for smoked marijuana. The rationale is that when you're smoking it, you can kind of self-regulate how high you get, and that's more difficult to do with the edibles. But from a public health perspective, that distinction just doesn't hold up. You can reduce the risk of psychosis through regulating potency, and that should be applicable. The Department of Health Service should be empowered to do that, no matter its form.
The next detail, the initiative, at least on paper, says that cities, municipalities, counties can have some control over how dispensaries are operated within their jurisdictions, but you say not really.
It's a mirage. I mean, the initiative actually says that they can prohibit recreational marijuana operations within their city boundaries, and the counties can do so in the unincorporated areas. But there's a limit and an exception. They can't prevent existing medical marijuana facilities from becoming dual licensee and offering at the site they already have recreational marijuana. Now, it just happens to be that there's almost exactly the number of existing medical marijuana licensees as there are going to be available licenses for recreational. So in reality, it's a local option to do nothing of consequence.
And we'll try to hit one more. And again, I mean, the column is filled with these details that Bob has dug out, but an intriguing one is that this is supposed to be done to raise money for community colleges and other things. You say maybe that money constitutionally can't even be spent?
Well, this one's more galling than troubling. There is a set of state constitutional spending limits that were approved by voters in 1980. And those constitutional spending limits define the revenues that are covered by the limitation. And that definition clearly covers the pot taxes that Prop 207 would distribute. The initiative, which is statutory, so it can't override the Constitution, flat proclaims that these local revenues from this pot money doesn't apply to those spending limits. Now, there are mechanisms in the state constitution to exceed the spending limit. So undoubtedly the beneficiaries would like to get the money and then deal with the issue of how do you legally spend it. But as I say, it's just kind of galling that the proponents of 207 just say, we can just wish that constitutional provision away. It doesn't apply to pot money.
Right. And again, as you point out at the beginning of the column, a lot of people are just going to make this a referendum on do we like pot being legal or not. But again, Bob has dove in and saw that in all the little particulars down at the bottom, there are some details that should worry us, I guess, according to Bob. Thanks again for those details, Bob.
You bet.